My name is Lenny Reese. It's November 9th, 2008, and as part of the Arizona Jewish Historical Society project, we are talking to Rita Segal, who has a wonderful story to share with us about growing up in Arizona, but not actually in the Phoenix area. Rita, tell us about your beginnings in Safford, Arizona.
I was born in Safford, Arizona in 1937. My parents had come out in 1935 with my two brothers who were 10 and 12, and my grandmother.
Rita, share with us the reasons that your family determined to move to Safford, Arizona, as opposed to, at that time, perhaps Phoenix and Tucson that might have been larger cities.
My mother's brother, George Goldstein, had married a girl who lived in Safford, Arizona. Her family originally came in 1911 and went to Clifton, Arizona, and subsequently Safford, Arizona.
And the family's name was what?
Joe Horowitz. And they opened a department store called the People's Department Store in Safford. I think that might have been the name in Clifton too, I'm not sure. But he was very influential in the community and participated in it. And I think there's a bridge with his name on it somewhere between Clifton and Safford.
At that time, what kind of a Jewish community was there in Safford?
But it was very lovely. It was 90 to 95% Mormon. And they were all very nice and very lovely. There were 5 Jewish families there, and they were all related to one another.
What were the names?
The names were the Bellmans and the Krupps and the Arnolds. And they were all related, and they had various degrees of families there.
And were they all business people?
They were all business people. They all owned either department stores, or one owned a furniture store, another a shoe store. But they were all in the retail business.
And although you were young, do you recall stories of any anti-Semitism or any issues for the small Jewish community in this Mormon town?
No, I really don't. I don't think that it really was an issue. I'm sure at various times that certain people had ideas that were not the greatest, but for my part, no, I did not experience any anti-Semitism.
Now, you didn't move to Phoenix with your family until when?
I came to Phoenix in 1956. I had gone to the University of Arizona my freshman year, and when my family moved to Phoenix in 1956, I came home and went to Arizona State.
And when you say home, what area of town did your family move to at that time?
In Phoenix?
Yeah.
It was at 16th Street in McClellan.
That was rather central, huh? Now, when your family came here, had they already established some relationships with members of the Jewish community here? Did they come into town, for example, for the high holidays, or was this celebrated in Safford in some way?
We always closed our stores in Safford for Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. And my family belonged to 2 congregations. We belonged to Anshai in Tucson, and we belonged to Temple Beth Israel in Phoenix. And we would go to one or the other. And I was always involved in that. I met children my own age in Tucson and in Phoenix, and was a member of BBG in Phoenix.
You met your husband at this period in time. Tell us how that fortuitous meeting took place, and when and where.
I met my husband when I came up here to go to Arizona State University, and we met and started dating.
And your husband's name?
My husband's name is Ralph Segal, and we were both very active at Arizona State University. I was president of my sorority, which I started as Arizona State University.
And which house was this?
A Phi. I was a member of A Phi at the U of A. And when I transferred, there was no chapter, and I started that chapter and became president. And since then, it's gone on and off campus and is on campus again. My husband was very active at ASU also. He's president of his house.
And which house was that?
Fraternity. He was vice president of the student body. And both of us were very active and implemental in getting the name changed to Arizona State University in 1959. We were the first graduating class, and it was very lovely.
And because this is for the Arizona Jewish Historical Society, tell us about being a Jewish student on campus at that time. Now, it might have been that because you were so involved in your sorority and your husband-to-be's fraternity, that your lives were pretty much involved with the Jewish community. But how did it feel to be a Jewish student on campus at that time?
It was wonderful. I don't think either one of us felt any type of anti-Semitism. We both participated in everything and went to everything. And I think that that's exemplified by the fact that my husband was president of the student body, vice president.
We're talking about your relationship and a long-time affiliation with Temple Beth Israel as a single person and then as a young bride and as a mother. So talk to us about your experiences with Temple Beth Israel.
Well, as a youth, I remember that the rabbi of Beth Israel was Rabbi Krohn. He's a lovely, lovely man. And then after that, Rabbi Plotkin, who we're very close to, and every time he sees me, calls me his daughter, which comes from my maiden name being Plotkin. And even Grady Gamage used to ask him, "Is that your daughter?" And he'd say, "Well, almost." So my impact with Temple Beth Israel, I was very active in Temple Beth Israel. I am a past sisterhood president, and I've held many posts with Temple Beth Israel, and I've enjoyed it, and the relationships that I've made there are lasting and wonderful. And we were members of Temple Beth Israel until part of us broke off to form Temple Kol Ami.
How did that take place?
I think it took place where some of the members who did break off were not satisfied with the way that things were turning for Temple Beth Israel. It's been so long ago I really can't specifically tell you what it was. But we broke off with Rabbi Charles Herring and about 20 other families and formed Temple Kol Ami, of which my husband Ralph Segal was the first president.
And you're still members of Temple Kol Ami?
Yes, we are.
I assume. Tell us a bit about that congregation.
It's a wonderful congregation. We've seen it grow from having high holiday services and other things that they did in a church, which was very kind and nice to us, to having its own edifice and a beautiful synagogue and lovely rabbis, into a very nice congregation.
Now, you've been involved as well in many other aspects of the Jewish community, and some of the things that I think you're particularly involved in are the Arizona Theater Company, is that correct?
I was at one time.
What was your connection there?
I was on the executive board, and we did the various functions that an executive board does, and it was a very nice time.
And you are on the board of the Arizona Jewish Historical Society, which is the parent of this wonderful project. Tell us a bit about your vision for the future with the building the ground has just been broken for.
I think it's a wonderful thing. I just went to another groundbreaking that they had Sunday. And it was very well attended by a lot of people I hadn't seen for a long time who are becoming involved in it. And it's going to be a historical thing for the city to have and for the Jewish people to have, as that's the first synagogue here in Arizona.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Rita. And it's been delightful talking to you.